Big up, Reds family. We are back again. Little Reds family reunion here because we have a big game coming to us tomorrow. It is possibly a make or break game for our gaffer because we need wins. There is no margin of error left in this campaign for what is now going from title to top four, and our top four fight. We are still really still involved in it. Big up to Norm too, by the way. Shout out to those that are joining us. Had a phenomenal, and I really do mean this. I am very, very humble and appreciative to the showing that we had earlier for the World Cup draw. Had over 100 people in watching or listening in some form on YouTube or X. Appreciate that. Much love for that. And now we have our beloved Reds here, the OGs in the house. Going to talk a little bit of Liverpool football now. Get back to the club football. Lee will be joining us shortly. Big up to Jimmy, by the way. Big up to Jimmy. It's time to have I would certainly say it's time to have a honest conversation, because right now Liverpool aren't just walking into Elland Road. They're walking into a test of mentality, identity, resilience. The 1-1 draw against Sunderland, I think some would say it flattered us because it is papered over cracks that everyone can see. It has maybe exposed some of those cracks to others. We were flat. We were disjointed. We were lacking aggression. Big up Ross. Big up Red Armchair Supporter in the house. But we were disjointed. We were lacking aggression, and yet again relying on a moment of individual brilliance to save us instead of team play to bring about the result. Mo Salah on the bench for the second straight match. Wirtz saving the day with a deflected equalizer, I think, which should have been a goal, by the way. But those that get to choose deemed it wasn't. Ali bailing us out. And I'd say Chiesa certainly bailing us out from not losing. But this isn't the Liverpool standard by any means. This isn't title defense football, people. This is just not. And Arne Slot knows it. The pressure hasn't gone anywhere. But the news we did want to hear, at least, Conor Bradley looks set to return. A natural right back, obviously, a real outlet, a real defender. It changes everything about our structure, our balance, and our transitions. We can all recognize that when we had Gomez playing the role for us in the last two games. You could see the natural balance exactly equalize itself out. Our transitions became better. We'll need this because Leeds are on a resurgence at the absolute worst time for us. We're going to break this down. I see the questions popping off in the chat here already. Do you think we are trying to pass through teams and then in final third hoping for an individual bit of magic, whereas last season we were quick breaking from our own half? Yeah, I do. Now teams sit and say, okay, break us down. Yeah, I think that's spot on, Norm. I think that's definitely it. Bonkers say moments of magic from one player to open up a low block. Arnie said, yeah, those players that normally would have done that, which is having the pace of a Nunez or something like that to kind of stretch the pitch, or having a Lucho on the left flank that could dribble and get into tight spaces or go into different go left or go right, doesn't matter. Um, we don't have that at the current status. Um, we could possibly have that if he played Rio a little bit more, but I don't know if Rio is necessarily. You're not. I don't want to rely on a 17-year-old to provide what Lucho was providing for us on a constant and consistent basis. That's just not ideal and ideal to have, to be honest with you. But I am happy to hear that Conor Bradley is back in the fold. That's a good thing. Look, team news is this, Sunderland's performance left Arne Slot with more questions than answers, I believe. I'm going to go through some of the key points. And we got Lee back with us now. Big up, Lee. How are you doing, by the way?
Good, thanks, mate. Good.
I also want to make sure. Let me make sure I have, because I did. Our coach did do a press conference too. Let me make sure. Oh, I didn't put it in here. But I do have his press conference answers in the likes too. So I'm gonna make sure that I have that in here too. But I'll just go through some of these. Look, Ali is the automatic starter in this game. We all know that. Still world class, still keeping us alive. There's no debate. Marmadashvili, thank you for holding it down while he was injured. But we all know that this team strives with Ali in net. Ibu and Virgil. Look, we need our center halves to figure this out. As much as I love Ibu and Virgil especially, the natural dynamism, the natural connection that I love to see between whether it was Virgil and Matip, whether it was Virgil and Gomez, it's sometimes strained here and there with Ibu and Virgil, despite them being both phenomenal players in their own rights. They went from being possibly the best center halves in the league last year to now being arguably middle of the pack, if not bottom of the pack. Gomez picked up a silly yellow, looked fatigued, and had to come off the pitch. So don't look for any rotation there. Conor Bradley, like I mentioned, was a massive boost. If he starts, Liverpool finally have width and aggression on the right side again. Curtis filled in well enough midweek, but not long. That's not a long-term option. We don't want to see Curtis Jones as our right back. Let's not get it twisted. This team needs a natural fullback. Left back, Robbo or Kirkes. For me, I think Robbo brings leadership. He brings calmness. He brings a certainty. But I can say this about Kirkes. The last few games, I've seen Kirkes kind of round into shape. He's looked a little bit more calm, a little bit more presentable as a left back for us. And that's something I wanted to see. Brings energy and form. That's always going to be a necessary thing to have, but you also have to have some calmness. If you want to talk about our midfield is a problem area for us. You talk about our back line, but maybe it's because our midfield is not allowing for our back line to truly have the strength points that it needs or the support that it needs. Szoboszlai drifting wide hasn't worked. McAllister turned in one of his roughest performances against Sunderland. Gravenberg looked our sharpest midfielder at times, but that's not saying much. It's really not. Consistency is still missing with this group, And this was possibly one of the best midfields last year. Easily could be seen as being one of the best midfields. The attack, 2 games, 2 starts on the bench for Mohamed Salah. That doesn't send a message. It causes possible chaos or likes, because now all of a sudden people are talking about, is Mohamed Salah even going to be with this team when he returns from AFCON? It's a big question mark, and it's something that I hope is a solid answer. But if Salah isn't starting games, the system isn't exactly 9,000. Isn't hand over fist better, but it is something different of a presentation. West Ham, it worked. Sunderland, it didn't. And then you finally have Isak versus Ekitike. Isak was starved of service, but also anonymous in a lot of cases in that game against Sunderland. Ekitike links better, of course, because he can drop deep and receive the ball and turn and be able to use his dribble. He presses a little bit better than Isak. He even creates a little bit more chaos than Isak. But we all know who is Slot's preference. And Slot may choose industry over profile here, but I think he's going to probably choose Isak as our 11. For me, my 11 is very clear, but we'll get to that. We'll get to that in a bit. What are some of the big things that you're looking at with this team? That some of the things that you got from that Sunderland game. What's your feel?
I didn't take it as badly as some may have. I mean, obviously at the time when the match was ongoing, I was frustrated that we couldn't get our nose in front. But I didn't take it as badly as some people have. I thought there were encouraging signs in the Sunderland game, because let's not forget they're on the crest of a wave. Sunderland, Arsenal could not manage to beat them. Chelsea lost to them. That they're really high up in the table. This is no, they might not be as strong a side later in the season, but right this minute you don't want to be playing them. So I took a bit of heart from that we didn't just fade away once they got that fortunate opener, that we kept at it. Yes, it was frustrating that we couldn't find any space, but we knew that before the game. We knew how they'd set up and we'd watched them against other teams. And it was tough to find space to make genuine chances and, good, incisive attacking moves. But, this Premier League football now, there's a lot of teams that are up to this caper to stop you playing, and you've got to find your way around it. We didn't manage to, but to me, the performance suggested that there are maybe the green shoots of recovery, and it could get a bit better over coming weeks. This is what I'm hoping anyway. And I'm hoping that we get room to play at Leeds, a little bit of room to play. That they'll be obviously buoyed by their win over Chelsea. I want them to come out and attack us. I want them to attack us so we can bloody attack them back. Because if they won't attack us hardly, makes it hard, doesn't it?
Yeah. Is that what you think is going to happen with Leeds? Is that you're going to see them?
I don't know what's actually going to happen. This is what I'd like to happen, is that they've got enough. See, they're low in the table. I don't know if they're still in the relegation zone. They haven't got, their confidence isn't that good. It must be a little bit brittle because of the season they've had so far. But that win will have buoyed them, and they're at home again against us. So they'll think to themselves, presumably, why can't we beat another big team, especially one that's in the middle of a piss-poor run? And I want that to happen. I want them to come out and so there's a bit more room for us to attack them. I want them to cut their own throats, basically, Leeds. Is what I'm hoping for, by attacking us and not just sitting back.
Okay. I'm seeing Norm is saying the midfield is just not playing well, so they're not helping forwards and not helping the back four either. Anyone starting Mo at the weekend? Are you starting Mo, by the way?
Me, no. I don't think I would, actually. I'm happy to carry on, especially with it being away from home, with Szoboszlai on the right. I think that's okay. I like that. We've got other, dangerous players. And I like the structure of it at the moment for an away game. I carry on with Gomez, even if Bradley's fit. I mean, Bradley, he's not going to be fit to start, I doubt it, is he, Bradley? So I would want Gomez to consider. I'll go off my head if Szoboszlai's put back there again. I do not want to see that shit. I want to see Szoboszlai in front of Gomez and Wirtz on the inside. I mean, maybe you could have a shout for Ekitike starting instead of Gakpo on the left, and try that formation, see if we could get anything out of it. But probably Gakpo, I would imagine, would start on the left. But I just hope we get a chance to actually play a bit of football, because it's been tough this season. Like, apart from our poor form, the way teams are setting up now, it's our going to create chances for us at the moment, isn't it? Like, and it's apparent to everyone.
Yeah, it is. It is certainly. And it hasn't been any easier with what you said. I mean, with the whole thing about, with Salah, and you saying that you wouldn't start him, did you ever think that we'd be, especially after after last season, we would be at this point, going well into, we're now, a couple days into December, saying, yeah, we're not going to start Salah. We're not going to get what we can out of him before he leaves for AFCON. It's a really wild thing. Wild thing to say.
Yeah, it's very much up in the air and what he's going to do tomorrow with Mo. Like, it's probably more likely that he returns him to the starting lineup, but I'm not absolutely sure with it being an away game, even though Leeds are low down on the table, with it being an away game. And, it's quite a bit of a bear pit when they get it going. So maybe a slightly more solid structure, as I said, with Gomez and Szoboszlai on the right, might be the best thing to do to try and get the points. Always bring them off the bench. But I think he's more like, the likelihood's probably more that he'll start than he won't, actually, now, after being benched for 2 games. I think, it's probably more likely that he'll start rather than not, but we'll wait and see.
Okay. Well, let's see. I'll give you the gaffer's answers to his press conference, because he held a press conference and he actually spoke on he had answered a lot of questions in his press conference, actually, which and our one thing I can give our gaffer is that he is when it comes to answering the questions, he's going to give you an honest answer. He gave you his honest answer, at least. There's no real sugarcoating the answers that he gives sometimes. He just actually sets out and says it. So before we give these lineup predictions and the likes and score predictions, let's talk about Arne Slot's press conference today, because this told us everything about where Liverpool are mentally, tactically, maybe even structurally heading into this game. He spoke at the AXA training centers and delivered one of his most clear cut. Let's keep everything raw and direct. And this is what it was, basically. So he was asked about Mo Salah's status going into Leeds. Slot didn't dodge the question. He, in fact, gave a really direct answer. He went out of his way to reaffirm Salah's importance. He said, Mo has been such an exceptional player for us. He's always in my mind to start or to come in. So, yes, he's been benched for 2 straight games for the first time in his Liverpool career, but Slot's tone, I think, says it all. Salah, I think, is absolutely in contention to start at Leeds. I'm not saying the door was ever closed. I know some people might already have moved on from that day or from that moment. but I think he remains central to Liverpool's attacking identity. And I think that our coach recognizes that point. On Conor Bradley's fitness, he said he was basically massively positive about this. He said Bradley is progressing well and can return for Leeds. It's a huge boost to see that. With Liverpool down both natural right backs in recent weeks, we all know that it would have been nice to have had obviously Bradley or either Frimpong there to play for us, but his return remains structure at the back. It means we don't have to worry about Dominic playing right back maybe, or even Curtis Jones playing right back. A little bit less chaos and wild in the wide defensive areas. Liverpool need that balance, and we're going to possibly get some of that by bringing him back into the fold. I'll ask you, we got the big update. Conor Bradley is close, and you can feel relief in Slot's voice with that. How big of a difference does Bradley's return make to Liverpool's structure? Not just defensively, by the way, Lee. I'm talking about, but in the sense of by releasing our reliance on bringing midfielders in to play at the right back spot,
Well, it would help to have one of the right backs available. But I've been pleased with the effort Joe's made since he's come in, and I do like that. I mean, I used to like it under Klopp when he played right back. Sometimes he used to take Trent off quite a lot, like sometimes around 75 minutes, and bring Joe on, to solidify things. And I do like that because he's still got the pace. Well, he's still got enough pace, but that way he always had a lot of pace. So even with less pace than he had, he's still a fast guy. The athleticism, as we know, it's just been his body, whether he can stay fit. But I would definitely want to see, even if Bradley's fit to start, I would continue with Joe if it's all possible. But it is a risk in case he gets an injury, and then we've got no cover whatsoever for centre back. So it's a real bit of a conundrum for Arne, this one, what he does for the best. But I'm pleased enough with Bradley's defensive capabilities that I wouldn't worry if he came straight back in at Leeds. It's just I wouldn't worry if he came straight back in, but I prefer Joe to stay there for this match, if it's all possible, and Szoboszlai to stay in front of him, because I think we can get something out of that. And that might be the way ahead. Jordan AFCON when Mo's not available. But he's certainly having a look at this now. And we know that he fancies Frimpong for the right wing, when he's available. He's referenced the fact that he can play there.
Yeah, because it brings that pace. He's got the pace we need to provide the width. It might not be the defensive structure that we need. He's not exactly some defensive domino or something like that, but he definitely brings in pace to that side. Yep. Can you hear me still?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. I just went quiet. All right, just making sure. Okay. Well, also, I talked about Conor Bradley's fitness update. Slot also warned about Leeds' playing style. We just mentioned about what we should expect from Leeds. He said this might have been, or what he had to say might have been the most telling part of the press conference, to be honest with you. Slot said Leeds' performance versus Chelsea looked eerily familiar to Liverpool's major issues. And that is soft set piece concession, unforced defensive errors, struggling to play through an aggressive press. Leeds can switch between high intensity to man-to-man pressing. They go deep, they go compact, low block. They can go direct long balls that force chaos. Slot referenced their Man City comeback as well. They didn't win that game, but they certainly put the pressure on Manchester City in that second half. He said, we know what to expect, and that playing style is difficult for many teams, including us. I truthfully don't want to hear our coach saying some astronomically stupid comment of saying how, oh, well, most teams can't beat Sunderland, like he said, and I guess you could just lump us into, I'm paraphrasing, but you could just lump us into that group. Most teams can play Leeds. It is the reason why they're at the bottom of the table. I get they came back against Manchester City. One could probably put that towards a team up 3-0 or whatever it was the score, and kind of letting off of the throttle a little bit.
Well, City have been quite bad for that, haven't they? Last season, going like 7 goals in front and then losing it or drawing, like in the Champions League and in the league.
Right.
So this is not new with City.
Right.
Yeah, they've okay. They beat Chelsea and they made that attempted comeback. At the end of the day, they got knocked off City, although they made that comeback at the end. So yeah, their confidence can't be that great. It'll still be a bit brittle, their confidence. And if we can score first, I'll be interested to see how things proceed. As always, the first goal is massively important, but especially the way we are at the moment. I don't want to be going behind. If we can get our noses in front and see what we can do.
Mm-hmm. It would be ideal. But I just don't. When he said that comment, I was like, I remember the reason why I'm bringing that up too is because I mentioned it. Again, I've been a little bit more active on X or Twitter. With my replies and responses and not necessarily postings, but certainly replies to other people's postings. And, there was a posting by someone I really do rate in their opinions. So they mentioned something about, it's not all about the coach and everything else and yada, yada. And I was saying, I get that. The players definitely need to hold accountability. However, when you have a coach saying that Sunderland is a good team that played against and has played, obviously they played other teams. I think the quote was something like, other teams haven't been able to beat Sunderland. That's, I think, a deflection. I get that is a truthful statement. Other teams have struggled to beat Sunderland. It's why they're performing so well in the league this year. But that doesn't negate the fact that we are defending champions playing against a newly promoted club. And this will be the second time we will be playing against a newly promoted club. There should be absolutely no cowtailing or no, basically playing to our opponent's level. That's what it sounds like you're already, in essence, allowing to be the narrative. I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear that. Look, he was asked some other big questions as well, obviously, because Slot gave Leeds a lot of respect and honestly a bit of warning to us Liverpool fans. Because this is like what I said, might be the most telling. He said, we know what to expect and that their playing style is difficult for many teams, including us. Those are very synonymously close to being the same statements that he made after the Sunderland game. He's almost like preparing us.
Yeah, we do keep hearing the same thing about we know how they play, we'll be ready or whatever. Well, I don't think he said that yet, we'll be ready, but he said, we know what to expect. He said that a few times and it hasn't helped us. I just hope that this time he's got something. I just hope he can outsmart Farker on the day. I hope his idea is better than Farker's on the day.
You can't have, this is what Armchair Supporter saying, we can't have these excuses. He is priming the excuse for us already. I don't want to hear that. Leeds can switch, I get it, to all these different things. And we understand we struggle with physical duels. We struggle with transitions. We struggle with long ball chaos. Well, guess what? Figure out a solution. With the amount of talent we have on this team, there is absolutely no reason for an excuse to be pre-primed for us to say, well, Leeds is just a good team. They're not a good team. They're not that good of a team to the point where they're contending for top 4 or they're in the middle of the pack making a move.
Right, they're in the relegation zone as far as I know, unless they win over Chelsea as they come out of it.
Exactly my point.
Can't be that good. I'd imagine their confidence will still be quite brittle if we can get in front, like, and actually put a performance on. Wind up them a bit.
I think it's just horrible mentality to have. I get that you want to be respectful to teams. You want to be mindful of like not trying to give them, bulletin board style like quotes and such. Like we're going to come in there and kick their butt or something like that. We get that, but you've got to level off of the not only respect for them, but you got to level off saying, yeah, we have to be mindful of this. We have to be mindful. They know those are our weaknesses. They know that get done with that. Get done with that quick. Weaknesses are things you should be training every day and all day in the training sessions on, so that they're not weaknesses. They're strengths. And I don't want to hear about a relegation team, even if they're at home, manhandling us or beating us in transitions or being first to the second balls or something like that. That is just mentality. That is a mentality issue. It's like if you as a coach allow for your team to be lackadaisical, to be lazy, to get away with that kind of stuff, guess what? They're going to let it seep into their DNA. We cannot have that at all. And that's what's scary about it. I mean, do you agree with Slot that Leeds intensity, the long ball transitions, and 1v1 pressing style could pose a serious threat to Liverpool right now? Do you agree?
The form we're in, yeah, but really speaking, it shouldn't. But the form we're in, yeah.
That's the whole.
Yeah, we can't be certain of anything at the moment. The form we're in, like, so.
Yeah, agreed.
It is going to be a battle, but I just don't we're up for it, like physically and mentally. There's no excuses now. Like, we can't carry on as I've been saying this for weeks. We can't carry on this way, not winning. And we just got to get back to it. I mean, to get a couple of wins in a row would be nice because that's something we haven't done for. Well, no, we had Villa and then Real Madrid, didn't we? That was that was the last time we won 2 in a row, wasn't it? Villa and then Real Madrid, which was a while back now, wasn't it?
Speaking of Chiesa too, I mean, like, I'll say this, and again, I don't think that Leeds is so dominating and so impressive with their physicality or their press or any of that stuff. I'm going to say this, and I'm going to mean it from the bottom of my heart. Our biggest enemy is ourselves. I personally think that Liverpool's own tendency to self-destruct under pressure as of late is a bout with their confidence. You start second-guessing yourself. You start allowing for yourself to do, stupid, amateur almost style antics with some of the moves or procedures that you go on the pitch with. What do they say? It's 90% mental, 10% physical, or something like that? Isn't that the saying?
Yeah.
Yeah. you have talent-wise, physically, Liverpool is undoubtedly one of the best teams in the league. Mentally, structured mentally, they are a shell of themselves. And he spoke on this too. He said, Florian Wirtz's confidence. He said Slot made it clear Wirtz doesn't need goals to be confident. He pointed out that how often Wirtz wants the ball, how consistently teammates look for him now. His creativity, even when not scoring, is upper ceiling. Slot said he wasn't surprised Wirtz was involved in the equalizer versus Sunderland because he kept trying when others faded. That's exactly what elite creators do. Lee, Slot defended Wirtz brilliantly. Not once did he mention goals. Excuse me. He only spoke on creativity, bravery, and repetition. Has Wirtz already become Liverpool's most reliable creator? Even in a team struggling to find form, is he not the central point of this team currently? It's a good question, I guess.
No, I would say he is. We want him to be the central point of the team. That's the whole point of buying him, is for him to be the central point of the team, in the sense that everything moves through him. And we're just having to wait for him to come good on that, to get settled into his game. Do
you think we're becoming too dependent then on Wirtz for
No. Okay. No. But I hope we do become very dependent on him soon, because that'll mean we're getting, quite a lot out of him. And hopefully, that's the idea. At the end, that's the end game thing, and it for Arnie, where it's once he gets him fully assimilated and whatever into the team, and the rest of the team's playing well around him.
Right.
That's what we're waiting for, isn't it? That's what we're all waiting for. But I mean, that'll encourage him. His goal against Sunderland, okay, they said it was an own goal, but for me, it was his goal.
It makes you ask the questions: what would we have done if Florian Wirtz had not been a player we bought? Let me see if I bring this up here. Yeah, if we had not made him a player that we acquired. And what I mean by that is Florian Wirtz I've been saying it on a couple different broadcasts. He was a luxury buy. We did not necessarily have him as our, target, our main target going into the transfer window. And it makes you think, if we hadn't been so fortunate to be, blessed to have the player choose to come to Liverpool over Bayern Munich and the likes, what would our offense look like? Think about that. Think about that. That's the scary thing about it. Yeah, think of where would our offense be? Where would our offense generate from if we didn't have Florian Wirtz? He gave some talk on Dominic Szoboszlai's positioning. His Slot confirmed with many Reds what many Reds have been suspecting, and that is Szoboszlai's long-term and likely short-term home in central midfield. He said, in the long term, he will play central, maybe midterm, and maybe even tomorrow. Now, when he says he will play central, does that mean that we will not see Florian Wirtz centrally located in our midfield any longer? What does that even mean?
Anybody's guess, really, isn't it?
Okay, all right, all right. I was looking to Lee for some answers. He was like, "Look elsewhere." All right, because I know that some people might. You have the monsters of the world, or trying to say that Diamond Spotlight's best position is at right back. I think that's a poor. I mean, do you see what he does for us in the midfield versus what he does for us at right back?
Mm-hmm.
And for you to double down and stick with that is kind of like just get over your agenda and allow for some real analyzation to happen. But I get that because of fullback injuries, we've had to see him be played as a right back occasionally. We've had to see him be as an inverted winger. We've seen him drifting right side to be the playmaker. I personally think that we can expect him back in the midfield once Bradley is fully involved, obviously. I think it's interesting that Slot revealed Dom's heat map barely changes regardless of his quote-unquote listed position, meaning he's naturally plays central zones. But I want to see him on that right midfield side. I would love to see a front. If I'm not going to get my wish for a 4-4-2 in the 4-4-2 diamond, at least give me a 4-2-2-2. Maybe that'll work. Could you see that maybe working for you, Lee?
I'm not sure.
We've played the 4-2-2 against who was it? Frankfurt,
yeah. I'm not sure about using it in the Premier League in an away game in the form we're in, but I would like to see him experiment and tinker a little bit with the formation going forward when we're in better form, when we've actually hit some sort of form, then to tinker a little bit with the actual formation. So we can try and accommodate as many good players as we can in the same team.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
But no, it's okay. I would like to see him make subtle adjustments to it. He's already been tinkering with things from the beginning of the season with the midfield, like having Gravenberch getting forward, whereas he was because he was primarily defending last season and not getting forward. So he's tinkering with things anyway, but I would like to see the actual formation, moved about a little bit, moved to pieces about, when we're in better form and as the season's going on. Hopefully we can hit our stride and have some sort of reasonable performance in the Champions League. I think we need decent draws in the Champions League as well, or at least the first one to be a decent draw to get us through that. That's really what we got to look forward to. That in the FA Cup, we're not going to win the league, accept that now. As long as we do okay in the league until the end of the season, try not lose as much. Try not lose too many more games. If we're not going to win, try and at least draw, because we've just had so many losses so far. It's out of character for the Liverpool side in the recent era, for us to lose so many games. I think the only time we did was when we had all the injuries under Klopp. Before that, we were losing one game a season sometimes.
People act as if those seasons never existed. That's so sad. I hate that.
We did only lose once when we first finished second to City in the season we won the Champions League.
I think we only lost in the year of the pandemic. We only lost one, if not two games. That Watford game was our first loss. Before that, we had I think a 17 or 18. It was something ridiculous, 17 game, 18 game win streak or something like that.
It was such a shame that COVID got in the way there of us being able to set a record points total, which I
I thought we could have done it if we can. If
I
we did
think
that
we would
right.
have. I think the likelihood is we probably would have done. We probably would have broke the 100 barrier.
Yeah, I think so too. We ended up just right on the doorstep. 99 points is still nothing to to scoff at. That's an accomplishment. That's the second highest.
It was such a season, the way we were going when COVID struck, and then obviously that the drop off, when we come back with the fans and after the long, drawn out wait to see when football would return.
Sure.
It was a shame that, because I think it could have been record breaking season for points. As it is, City still hold that, don't they?
They do. Well, Slot basically said, relax, Dom is a midfielder. He's only wide because of everyone else being injured or unavailable. Excuse me again. How important is it for you to get Szoboszlai, permanently back in the midfield? I think, truthfully, why I'm asking that question is because I know people are saying like, "Oh, I want him in the midfield. I think, especially with the uncertainty of Frimpong, when he's going to be fully fit and able to provide us some hope and help on the right side. I truthfully think that I wouldn't mind seeing Dominic Szoboszlai as that right-sided player, that fill-in for Salah when he goes to AFCON. It was something I originally wanted to see the year we were going for the quad, and we ended up stumbling when Dom got a muscle injury right before Salah went to AFCON, and then AFCON, Salah got hurt at AFCON. So we were out with both Salah and a period of time without Salah and Dom as well. But I think, he's played it for RB. He's played it occasionally on the occasion, maybe even for Hungary. I think that would be. I would just like to see one of the major components of our offense, or of our team, excuse me, that I think we're missing this year is the intensity in our front press. That front line press has dissipated to non-existence almost. You might see some guys running around or pressing here and there, but the consistency of that being the shape of what we present is no longer there. And I think if you had Ekitike up front, if you're going to stick with this 4-2-3-1, and you're not going to have Salah on that right side, imagine we talk about the fact that Salah doesn't track back. He's not playing defense as much as we'd like. He's cheating, this and that. Imagine if you had a Dominic Szoboszlai on that side, providing the width, providing that intensity. I think that would be a phenomenal upgrade when it comes to our press on that side. And we have the components of a midfield enough so that you could still make some decisions as to who you want to round out your midfield. That's at least my opinion. What's your take on my take, I guess, Lee?
I do like him playing on this right hand side. It gives us a good balance, and obviously he comes inside a lot, doesn't he? Even though he's playing on the right wing, comes inside quite a bit. But I like him there. Yeah, it gives us a little bit more solidity. He's still a dangerous guy going forward and getting into advanced positions. But he gives us a lot of press, doesn't he, and leg work. Gives the right back a lot of cover. Joe at the moment, isn't it? And I do like it. I think it is a possible way forward when Mo's at AFCON, which isn't far away now. Also, we've talked about Frimpong playing on the right wing when AFCON's on. And he should be back, hopefully, by the time AFCON starts, Frimpong.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
you would imagine the choice would be between Frimpong and Szoboszlai most of the time when Mo's away.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, could possibly throw Ekatike there like he did against Frankfurt.
This is just me speaking from my preference. I would like to see us just if once we do get Frimpong back, especially, I think that having that kind of pace and that kind of press, having the pressing ability of Szoboszlai in that right side as one of our, if we're going to stick with a 4-2-3-1, having him in the place of of Salah on the right side, then also having the width and pace that Frimpong could create by being the overlap on his right, you're looking at a very, very different animal when you have that scenario.
I like the idea of Frimpong going to the line with his pace on his right foot. We've seen it anyway before he got injured, how he likes to do that. If he can, isolate whoever he's up against and then just burst past them, get right for the line and cut it back. And I'm hoping we'll see quite a bit of that, like when Mo's at AFCON from Frimpong. And vice versa with Szoboszlai too, because he's right-footed as well. Obviously, he's not as pacey as Frimpong and as direct a runner. But just to have that, the ball coming in, from the byline, instead of it being further back, it makes a lot of difference, doesn't it, to get to the line sometimes on your strongest foot. You can get a really wicked ball and you get a lot of own goals that way, because defenders are back facing their own goal, aren't they, running back? So it's something I like to see anyway when AFCON's on, because we haven't got any left footer to put out there, have we?
No.
Unless Kirkens goes and plays out there.
Yeah. Which isn't that crazy of a shout, I guess. If you want, if you're destined or you're looking to get a left footed player on that side. But you're right. It would be certainly something different to see Kirkes on that side. I was also going to say he also brought up on getting the best out of Alexander. He spoke on getting the best out of Alexander Isak. Slot admitted Liverpool need to improve how they service the striker. Wow. Well done. Getting some service to our striker. That'd be phenomenal. December. We're in December. But all the same, we want to bring him more often into threatening situations, Slot said. He also recognized the system change, playing more compact, has reduced chance creation. This wasn't criticism of Isak. It was criticism of the team's supply line. He also spoke on that supply line as being the fact that Isak is getting, on average, can you guess how many times on average our striker is touching the ball? Lee, like if you were to try to take a wild guess as to just a wild guess on a number there, how many times do you think that he touched it on average? Per match. How many times do you think that the ball touches?
I couldn't even hazard a guess at that. Just tell me. I couldn't hazard a guess at that. What is it? 14
times.
14. Okay.
Yep. Red Armchair Supporter Bonkers all got it. Oh, they've all heard the quote. Yep. Right. 14 times. Slot, he got into it a little bit deeper by saying, let me try to give the breakdown and educate the press staff into why is such. He said Isak averaged 22 touches at Newcastle. Elite number 9s often don't touch the ball much, is what he said. Again, stop with the deflection, please. Stop with the deflection. He says it's about touches in meaningful moments, not volume. I give you credit for that. I agree. Because often you see him, there was a couple times against Sunderland, for instance, where he went back and he had to drop deep, so deep that all he was there was to help recycle the ball. Because all we were doing was doing this horseshoe around the 18-yard box. It was right to left, left to right, right to left, left to right, like just back and forth, back and forth. And then eventually he would have to like revert back deep. They'd get a pass in to try to make the lines collapse a little bit to maybe open up a channel. He would recycle it to that line. And then all of a sudden it went back, sideways passing. That's all. He referenced Holland to make his point stand. He says it's more important to touch the ball at the right times than than have many times. But Slot did stress the gap Liverpool must close. Holland gets touches where it matters, albeit fantastic, great. But Isak doesn't get touches even where it matters, it seems like. Isak needs more of those moments, and that's on the team. That's a structural issue. And it's fascinating to hear Slot talk about, trying to bring up striker in that analytics and trying to bring up, again, excuses as to why we have not been getting our touches in, or trying to say the reason, Holland doesn't get many touches, so why should our 100 million plus striker on our team? It's absolutely incredible. But sorry about that. I knocked my headphone jack out. But let me say, is Isak's lack of touches a team issue, as Slot says, or does the player need to demand the ball more aggressively? Maybe, Lee. Does he need to become more proactive?
Sometimes, yeah. Sometimes.
Okay. Yeah, I think if we can fix the supply line, we won't be. I just think we're wasting one of the most, the biggest talents on our team. That's my point. And you might have a coach saying, "Oh, well, the strikers don't usually get the ball a lot, or they're not going to get touches," and and it's about getting in the right touches, not the wrong touches. The point is, out of those 14 touches, for instance, how many of them do you think are actually quote unquote moment touches? How many of them are big moment touches then? If it's not about volume, because at least if you were a player that was getting volume touches, chances are you'd have a higher probability of one of those touches being a moment, those quote unquote moment touches. And if you're not going to have, just like Hyler was saying, or I think mentioning at least, if you're not going to have a player like a Darwin that's going to be able to like track back and create on his own, you're going to have to find some way of creating those moments. He also, last but not least, made a comment on Harvey Elliott's situation at Aston Villa. He said Slot was very diplomatic about it, because he spoke to Elliott only around the Feyenoord match. He acknowledges Elliott is in a tough spot, but he refused to comment on Villa's usage of the player. He said, "You should ask those questions at Villa, not here." I think he respects Elliott. I think he does to an extent, but he won't step into another club's business technically.
Well, that's right. He's right in saying that. They're not going to get any answers out of Slot as to why it hasn't worked for Harvey at Villa.
Agreed.
Only even Emery can tell you that, mate.
Yeah, agreed on that. But my assessment of Slot's presser was this. Slot was honest about Liverpool's shortcomings. I give him credit for that. Clear-eyed about Leeds' physical and tactical danger. Fantastic. He says that they're going to be a strong team that we face off against. He was encouraging towards Wirtz and Dom, praising their performances, protecting Isak while demanding more from the team. Consistent with his demand for compactness, discipline, and structure. His message ahead of our travels away was blunt. If Liverpool do not raise intensity, if we don't cut out errors and create more in the final third, Leeds will punish us. This was the clearest tactical warning Slot has given all season, and it's one that is painful to hear because as the coach, you should know what it takes to neutralize those threats. But I'm cool if you're not giving us those answers in the press conference because I don't want to give the answers to Leeds, But still. All right. I'm going to give you the 5 big watch points for this game. We'll talk about 5 areas where this match will be either won or lost, basically. The first one will be, will Leeds 3-5-2 smash Liverpool's fragile confidence? Leeds have stumbled onto a formula that suits their players and punishes ours. They go with 2 physical forwards. They have a midfield that can press and recycle. They have wing backs that stretch and suffocate. And the stats, they're a little bit scary if you're a Liverpool fan. Under the 4-1-4-1 versus City, they had 2 shots. They allowed for 2 shots, 0 big chances, and 0.1 xG. Or in the first half, excuse me. That's what they had. But under the 3-5-2, they had 7 shots, 3 big chances, 1.4 xG, and 2 goals. Against Chelsea, we saw them absolutely get dismantled by this team. This is the team that Chelsea's a good team, a team that beat us. Leeds are aggressive, they're direct, they're intense, they're confident. Right now, if you're describing us, I'd say we're passive, overthinking transitions, not controlled in our midfield, vulnerable to physical duos. Set pieces. What do you think is our set piece solution, if you have one, Lee?
Practice.
Practice.
Like perfect, yeah. Practice, all different ones. I was impressed with Leeds' header, the guy that got the header against Chelsea for the, was it the first goal? I think it was, yeah. I think it was, anyway, it was one of Leeds' goals against Chelsea. It was a good header where he ran from outside the box to the near post, the guy, and we got to watch out for him and for that, for players doing that. Now we got to be really on our toes, like against them on set pieces, as we have had to be in against everybody. But yeah, definitely here we put us under pressure. We just got to stand up to it. We've got 2 big physical centre backs, like we should be able to stand up to it. And if we have Joe as well, he gives extra help there. I wouldn't mind seeing Robbo actually. Kirkes did well in the West Ham game and that, but I'm liking the idea of Robbo starting, if possible. Just the experience he's had in the side, you know what I mean? The amount of times he's played for us, and that I would like to see him start this one. But I don't think he will.
Yeah, I think it's simple. For me, it's very simple with the set pieces. Because set pieces are scary. That's one of Leeds' biggest strengths is their set pieces, and it's obviously one of our weakest. Leeds has 7 goals from set pieces this year. We have conceded 10 goals from set pieces. Plus 4.
Marriage, that is it.
Plus 4 from penalties. And we're not even, it's, you know what, primarily for me, it's not about our intensity or efforts on the first on the first connection. Because we're not losing the first ball. It's about that second ball that we keep losing, or even the third. That can't happen. It's kind of like, it's almost as if we get to the first ball. As soon as we get to the first ball, heads turn and they just look to go upfield, and then they forget about the fact that we don't have control of the ball yet. We got to the first ball, sure, but the first ball's got to be okay. Connect, control on the second, and then pass on the third. The Salah question comes up. Jamie Carragher, other pundits. I have a whole segment, not in this show, but whole segment for possibly like a Sunday or Monday show set up already, because the talk is being made about Salah, and it's being very, very much like a big question. His numbers say it all. At this stage last season, guess how many goals he had? What was his GA last season at this stage?
How many league games in are we now?
I want to say we're at least 12, or no, we're 15, because I think this is week 15.
15. Did he have? Are you talking about just in the league?
Yeah.
Yeah. So this time last season, just in the league, what did he have? I know, 7.
Or if it's not, then how many in all competition?
11 in all competitions by this time last season.
Good. Yeah, that's a good shout. 13 goals, 8 assists. He had 21 GA at this stage last season. What do you think his GA is this season?
I haven't got a clue.
Exactly. 6. He's got 4 goals and 2 assists. 4 goals, 2 assists.
Big difference, yeah.
Big difference. Huge difference. And not only is it a huge difference, I don't think his legs are gone. He's got 6 big chances missed, by the way. I don't think his legs are gone. I don't think it's a decline of Salah. I just think it's a team that's not creating the right patterns for him. Slot's acknowledged that too, by the way, because he brought Mo on at halftime for Sunderland. And obviously, he believed that Mohamed Salah could get us a goal. I don't know if it was an act of desperation, but it was certainly an interesting one to do against Sunderland. My 4th point for Leeds is, like I said earlier in this broadcast, Florian Wirtz. Flow is the way to go. Wirtz is so important in this match. If Leeds does a 3-5-2, and they're going to congest the midfield, Wirtz becomes the one who can possibly unlock that shape. I'm hoping he can, because it's going to be it's going to be a lot of heavy lifting for your McAllisters or your Gravenbergs or even your Doms in that midfield to actually create and get involved in our offense. I don't think this is a game for Wirtz to be isolated in. He's got to become a center point for us. And last but not least, Leeds. Look, Dominic Calvert-Lewin is going to look and do what he did against Manchester City. He's been physical this year. He's gravitated his game towards Leeds. He's been good in the air. He's been good at the knockdown game. He's been good against shaky defensive lines. One someone could say we have. Combined him with what's the guy's name Mecca's. What is his name? And his name's Nmecha. Mecha.
Yeah, it's a hard one to pronounce. That Metcher, I think.
Mechas. Okay. If you combine that with that guy's work rate and his movement, that's what we don't want to see lining up against us. I don't know. Calvert-Lewin might not be in this game, I think, possibly, but I'm hoping if he is, we're ready to deal with him. Oh, man. But let's see. The last 6 games, we have a loss, win, 2 L's, a win, and a draw. So that makes it 2 wins, 1 draw, and 3 L's. Leeds is working off of 2 wins and 4 L's. The wins being their last win and the start of that 6-game win, that 6-game streak or 6-game run of 6 games.
It's going to be a battle for them to stay up, but we'll wait and see. They'll make a good fist of it, probably. Like, just hope that they start that after tomorrow.
Mm-hmm. Look, Liverpool haven't gone 3 matches unbeaten in nearly 3 months. Think about that.
That's bad.
That is horrible. It's been 3 months since we've gone 3 matches unbeaten.
Bloody stinks, actually. That it's atrocious.
Yep.
No, we gotta sort that out, haven't we?
We got to sort that out ASAP.
I mean, when did we last get 2 wins in a row in the league? Well, obviously it was like the start of the season, wasn't it? Like, so we won all our opening games, like, but since then we've not been able to put 2 wins together, have we, consecutively?
Yeah, that was the last time we were able to do that was when was the end of our win streak in the beginning of the year. Since then, we haven't in the league, at least, we haven't put 2 wins together. That's sad. What's your lineups? What's your lineups, people? Tell me your lineups, your predictions for us. I believe it's going to be Ali, Bradley, Ibu, Virgil, and Kirkes. I think it's going to be Gravy, Jones, Salah, Wirtz. Excuse me. Could we see Chiesa start? Could we see with this comment? Could we see Chiesa start?
I'd like to
Tiki up front. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'd like to think that we could see Chiesa start, but no, it won't happen. He's not going to start him, especially not in a Premier League game.
You think Salah? Comes back to the lineup?
No, I think he might stick with Szoboszlai on the right. I think he'll stick with playing Szoboszlai and Wirtz. Whether he'll stick with Isak, I don't know, up front. But I think he probably will go with Gakpo. So it'd probably be same as I would imagine. There'd be changes, maybe like a fullback. If Bradley's fit and he doesn't think Joe has another start in him so soon after having 2 others, then Bradley and maybe Kirkes will come back in for Robertson.
I think maybe the reason why some people are thinking that Chiesa might get the start, or why I put Chiesa get the start. I'm thinking outside the box of what Slot. I'm trying to get inside of Slot's mind here. But you know how Liverpool puts out the advertisements for the game?
Mm-hmm.
And then it'll have it'll have the date and the time and all that stuff for our next game. Chiesa is the man on the advertisement.
Okay.
It's almost like when you see him in
Bacon, didn't he, with that goal line clearance against Sunderland?
yeah. Sometimes, it's kind of like when you see the guy take the press conference, that's most likely someone that's going to start in the next game is whoever, goes, at least when you do the Champions League ones, chances are that person's going to be starting. Not often do you pick a bench player and have him speak for the team. But yeah, he's on the cover this year, this time around for the Leeds game. The Liverpool 11 I want is I'd like to see Ali. I'd like to see Bradley, Konate. I'd like to see, truthfully, Gomez, but I'll take Bradley and Konate. Van Dijk. I'd like to see Robbo. I'd like to have Grab and Dom. I'd like to see Salah and Wirtz, and I'd like to see Akatike and Isak. I think that would be a day 9. That would be possibly our best 11. If you really, really think about it. And that's like a 4-2-2-2. 4-2-2-2. I know I want my 4-4-2. I'm not going to get it probably, but at least that way you can put Wirtz on that left side. You can put Salah on that right side. You can have Grab and Dom hold down the pivot. Boom. Let's see what happens. But we see. We shall see. We shall see. Lee does not look does not look like you are feeling that call. You don't like my 4-2-2-2? I know it's not going to happen.
No, I'm ambivalent about it. Really, that's your thing. That's your idea. It's up to you. Yeah, it's a decent idea. I'm not sure he's going to play anything like that tomorrow. But who knows?
Mm-hmm. Now that Bradley is back, would you play Gomez instead of Ibu?
With them being good at set pieces with one Ibu, the height. I think we'll need Ibu in his height. As I said, I would like Joe to continue at right back if it's at all possible. If not, then put Bradley in. I definitely don't want to see Dom shunted back there. If he started Chiesa, say, on the right, I wouldn't want it to be, then he shunts Dom back to right back. I'd rather Dom was on the bloody bench than played right back again. No, it's not that he isn't good there, because he is good there, but I want it to be a defender against Leeds away who are good at set pieces. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I totally know what you mean.
Robertson's also got that bit of extra height on Kirk has, for headers. Yeah. But yeah, we'll be bombarded. We'll be bombarded tomorrow. There's no doubt about it. We've just got to stand up to it.
I don't know. What was the question? The real R2F. If you can ask the question again, I will do my best to answer it. Did you answer the what would you do if you're a Liverpool hierarchy question? I did not. I do have a hierarchy question. Thank you for reminding me, actually. Let me get this question. Let me get to that question. I do have a fun question. Hold on, let me see if I can find it, though. Just looking in my notes here. Okay, so here it is. So here is my fun question. It's kind of a fun question, I guess you could say it is. All right. And then we're gonna get to it. Let me get one more last one. Hold on. Get this so I can get back to the main talking points here. All right. Wait, let me, you know what? I do have a good question for everyone. I do have a really good question for everyone. So I need Lee dialed in. I need you in the chat dialed in. And I will star your question, real R2F, and answer it too. Okay, I will answer the real R2S question in one moment. I do not hide. Let me say that. I do not hide. Yesterday, as I said before, I try my best to watch live if I can. If not live, I'll do my best to watch it on the replay. Our other fellow content creators on the list, Liverpool content creators at least, and Uncle Rod's had his show. He had N90, and he had two other participants in the group with him. And there was a question, or there's something that was said in the chat about about how it's like, or no, it wasn't even somebody's question in the chat. I think it was just something brought up by the panelist, and there was something about like how we've been losing lately, and it's difficult to do shows, and how like some of the content creators out there have been kind of avoiding doing shows and talking about our Reds, and how it's been like open season on a lot of us Red content creators. Look, I said it on the channel, and Uncle Rod's disagreed with me, but and it's okay to disagree. I'm not calling him out for this at any means of it. But what I am stressing is keep your heads up, my Reds. Keep your heads up. If anything, I was stressing about the fact that we're champions. There's only going to be so long that we can keep that gold line on our sleeve for the moment. So while it's there, act like champions, despite the fact we're getting beaten, or we're losing games, or not playing well. Look, class is permanent, form is temporary. Always act the part. That's my point. I definitely walk with my head held high, because this is our team. This is our club. We represent it to the fullest, and I don't hide. If you're scared, get a dog. But let me tell you like this, I am all about not ducking anyone. I don't care if we lose, or I care if we lose. I shouldn't put it that way. But what I mean by that is, even if we lose, I'm still going to wear my kit or represent Liverpool. You can, if you don't believe me, trust me. I was this past weekend. We lost, and I was wearing my kit. I ran up against a Spurs supporter, and he's like, "What are you doing wearing your kit?" And I'm like, "Cause I'm win, lose, or draw, I'm still a Red." So, hey, if you want to pick, if you only want to be a Red when we win, that's on you. But I'm a Red whether we win, lose, or draw. So that's how I see it. Let's see. Also, yeah, Dara, big up Dara. Dara's got our backs too. So there you go. He's protect and serve. So big up Dara. What was I going to say too about these things? We were going to talk about something. I was just going to ask, what's your score predictions, people? And then I'm going to get into answering the questions. We'll do a question segment. What is your score predictions? I'm going to tell you right now. I'm going to tell you, my heart says 3-1. Because somewhere inside, beneath all the chaos, the inconsistency, the doubts, there is still the belief that Liverpool can turn up. We can silence that Elland Road crowd. We can turn up and look like the team that showed up last time at their home stadium and absolutely destroyed them 6-1. And put some proper measure. Put some proper measure on it. On us. My head, though, unfortunately says Desmond. Because at this point, predicting which version of Liverpool shows up week to week is, what is it like? What do they call it? A fool's errand almost. I don't want to be the fool. But We look brilliant for 20 minutes, and then we look lost for another 20 or 30, and or maybe chaotic for 40. And then somehow still in the game, show up somewhere, somehow, some way. The truth is, Liverpool could have no complaints if Sunderland had beaten them midweek, because they showed that they were the better team on the day. Leeds, meanwhile, could not be more fired up after beating Chelsea. New formation, new energy, new belief. They smell blood in the water, because all of a sudden teams are feeling chest when it comes up against us. So, all right, before I bore any more of you, Dara has it 2-1. The real 2F has it 2-1. Real armchair supporter has it 2-1. So 2-1 is the majority of the scores here. 2-1 or 1-2. I know what he means. Dara is saying one. You usually put the home team first, then the visiting team second. So he's saying 2-1 to Liverpool. He's saying real 2F saying 2-1 to Liverpool. Real armchair supporter saying 2-1 to Liverpool. What's your score? What's your score? Now that you got a little peanut butter sandwich. I'll wait till you finish your peanut butter sandwich or whatever you're eating. Yeah.
I'll say a 2-1 win for Liverpool.
Okay.
I say we get a 2-1 win in this one.
2-1. The 2-1 is Eric's saying 2-1 as well. All right. I want 3-1 Hart, 2-2. I want Desmond. It's not too often that I pick our team to draw, much less lose. So that says something. That says where we are at with the confidence level with this team. So let's all let me get to this too. Did I say that? Oh, I didn't even say who scored, but we'll get to this. Let me get to some of these questions because I don't want to fall too far behind. We're already almost at the 90th minute mark. Also, Bonkers had it 3-1, or even he had it 3-1, but he's hoping that we win it 1-0. So he has us losing 3-1, but he's hoping that we win 1-0. And the question is, if you are Liverpool's hierarchy, would you sack Slot? And if not, what would be your plan or thoughts right now? Excuse me. If I was the hierarchy, look, going by the way that Liverpool conducts itself with coaches, the cultural answer would be I wouldn't sack Arne Slot, because it's not in our necessary DNA, I guess you could call it. But I've already told many a person my plan of attack or things I would be doing. Look, I would have already had I think it does Travelocity or travel. What is the one he does? I forget. He does one of those travel things. I would have already hooked up some arrangements to go and visit Germany, have a conversation with a certain individual in Germany to see if he would be interested in reacquiring the reins of Liverpool. If not, I know of a person that would. Travelocity. Thank you, Dara. And if not, I would certainly, I know of a person that if he wasn't interested in taking the reins, I would certainly look at discussing the job opportunity with Stevie G. To me, you know what? To me, again, I think that we've gone beyond tactical fixes and the likes and such. Would I like to see the formation? Everyone knows what formation I want to see. But when it comes to this team, I think personally, it's that 90% mental, 10% physical thing. I think it's honestly a mentality problem on this team. And unfortunately, right now, I don't have the utmost faith in Arne Slot that he has the ability to make mentality monsters out of these players. I think, unfortunately for us, we are playing on banked money with the fact of our former coach certainly instilled that character into the majority of our players. And I think after you can only go to that well so many times. And so that's at least what I'm thinking. So I'm hoping that we can get things together and kind of, bring it all central. But if Klopp doesn't want the job, and if this might be a little bit too big of a job for Stevie G, then I'm just going to have to stick with Slot until the end of the year, at least till the end of the year. And that's there's not many coaches I can see. There's not many coaches that I'm like I can get fully on board in giving the thumbs up and feeling confident that they could understand what it's meant to be, which is maybe an interim job, understanding the fact of what we're trying to restore this club to, which is the mentality and the character of this club, and emphasizing that importance. There's not many coaches that I would rest to see in that capacity. So I have a question for you guys out there, though. And this one, I offered it to Lee, so he's got to answer, I think, at least somewhat formulating in the back of his cranium. And this is the question that I had. I asked this of Matt from Coppish, and he gave me his answer. So I'd like to know your answer. We're linked to a lot of different players. Now. Some of these players might be January targets. Some of these players might be summer targets. But we're linked to a lot of. We're out of the strong targets we are linked with. Who would you be most chestfallen to miss out on and see get signed to a rival? I asked that question because I'll give you about 11 different selections of players we've been linked to. And I'd love to hear who you think. We've been linked to Valverde. We've been linked to Camavinga. We've been linked to Olise. We've been linked to Semenyo. We've been linked with Gomez. We've been linked to Baleba. We've been linked to Wharton, Gahey, Slotterbeck, Bastoni, even Alvarez. And now there's even another player that put in there, but he's not too well known, I think. But Diamande or something like that, I believe.
Yan Diamande, the winger.
Yeah, the winger.
He's a new link, isn't he?
So now you can add that to the list if you want. But out of those players, out of those strong targets, who would you be most chestfallen to see get scooped up by a Manchester United or a Manchester City or even an Arsenal? They're not necessarily our rivals, but still, and even an Arsenal or a Chelsea. Who would you see? What one of these names would you be so chestfallen to see us not get? And it kind of tells you who is your Morgan Rogers. You could put his name in there. It kind of tells you who your interest or who's your top priority. But we've seen it happen before. Whether it's Jude Bellingham was a lot of people's top target. I'll give you examples. Jude Bellingham was a lot of people's top targets when he was in the mix coming out of Dortmund, and then he got signed by Real Madrid. Caicedo was a player that all of a sudden we put a massive bid in for. Looked like he was going to be going to to Merseyside, and all of a sudden he ends up in Chelsea. Which one of these players would you be most devastated to see not choose Liverpool red? That's the point. That's the question.
If we had a genuine chance of getting any of them, like, I really like Valverde.
Okay.
I really like Camavinga too.
There's some great names on there.
Yeah.
Absolutely great names.
And Elise, obviously he's my favourite choice for a mode replacement for a left footer, because they're always at a premium, left footers. There's never enough of them. I'd be disappointed if we lost out on him and he went to somewhere like City and done well.
You can only pick one though, people. You can only pick one. I'm not gonna let you guys luck out and pick two or talk about two or three names out there. Be bold like Dara. He said Bastoni, which makes sense. Everyone knows I love Bastoni. You can only pick one. So are you going Valverde? Are you going Elise? You're going Camavinga? You can only pick one. So if you pick two, give it some more thought, narrow it down to one. See what people say. Chelsea do buy everyone. They do. They try to, at least. Who are you going with? Who's going to go with, Lee? Are you sticking with Valverde?
No, because it's not likely. I would say I'd be gutted if we lost out on Elise to a Premier League rival. I don't see Valverde or Camavinga moving to England anytime soon. But
30%.
Don't see Alvarez coming back either. So Elise, I would say, of the ones that we would genuinely maybe have a chance of getting, because it's a position that we're going to need someone in to replace Mo, a left footer.
Camavinga is on this list because Camavinga is a player that apparently Liverpool are going to make a bid for, by the way, for January, because Camavinga has played in 30% of the minutes available. That's how much he's played in this season for Real Madrid. 30% of the minutes.
No, it's whether that's enough to force his hand, isn't it? And to make him want to move. Is that too little?
The reason why is because there has been grumblings. Look, Xabi Alonso's got a lot on his hands, making a lot of those players happy. It's not an easy thing to make a lot of superstars happy with the amount of minutes and sharing of minutes that you have to do. And 30% of the time, it's the reason why Valverde was reportedly said to have said the same thing that Vinny Jr. said, which is, at the end of this year, if you want me to resign, or not necessarily to resign, he's already signed at like 2029 or something like that. But like, if you want Vinny Jr. to resign, he says you got to make a decision between either me or Xabi Alonso. Alonso's here, I'm not resigning. All right, Eric's saying I see you can only pick one, so I'll just take your first choice. I'll say you chose Wharton as your choice. Okay. We had no sign of signing Wirtz, remember? Yeah, that's a good point. Very good point. Vinny Jr. said that, Red Armchair Supporter. Vinny Jr. said that he said about Alonso, he came out and said that he is going to refuse to resign his deal if Xabi Alonso is the coach. Let's see. A lot of grumblings in Real Madrid. That's the reason why that's why Valverde and Camavinga are on this list. Rumblings about playing time and about the uneasiness about the faith that they have in Alonso as their coach, apparently. Let's see. Red Armchair Sports says he'd take Camavinga. Eric said Wharton. Originally said Gahey and Wharton, but I'm taking Wharton as your choice now. Bastoni said Dara. And Lee, again, who was your choice again, Lee?
Elise.
Elise, okay. Yeah. If I'll get you the exact quote if you want. Give me 1 second. Hold on 1 second. I'll get you the exact quote. Says recent reports as of late 9th of November 2025 from the Athletic and other sources said that Vinicius Jr. has told Real Madrid president Florentino Perez he won't sign a contract extension while his relationship with coach Xabi Alonso remains strained, stemming from benchings and tactical disagreements since Alonso's arrival. His current deal runs until 2027, but talks have stalled due to his managerial tension, with Vinny feeling undervalued and benched more often than previously. So he told that to the it's reports that he told that to the Real Madrid president, Perez. So there you have that. I thought Tuchemani's a good shout too. I don't know if Tuchemani. I'd rather have Camavinga than Tuchemani, to be honest with you. But I think Tuchemani is still a good player. Some people don't like Tuchemani. Some people have fallen off with the praise of Tuchemani. I thought it was an interesting question. I thought it'd be a fun question to ask you guys. Let's see. But yeah. All right. Well, we're at an hour and 45 minutes. Those OGs in the chat that have remained with us, I appreciate that. We've hovered around. We lost a few heads that were rocking with us in to make the numbers a little higher, but it's all good. We are going to bring this to a. Oh, so who do you have starting the party, and who do you have in your 2-1 win? Who do you have starting the party? Please don't say it's a Leeds. I hope it's not a Leeds player, because it could be. Who knows?
No. I feel like if we're to win, we must go in front rather than going behind. I'll say Szoboszlai.
Dominic Szoboszlai. All right. Party starter. Got you down for a party starter. He'll have his party hat on. 2-1 victory. Very cool. Very good. Very good. I'm gonna go with Wirtz being our party starter. Get it started early. Cody Gakpo. Nice. That's a good shout. Very good shout. Party starter. Let's get the party started. Let's get it. Well, I don't know the words for it. I'm not gonna sing it. All right. Hopefully I got to all your questions in the chat. If I missed some or missed your question, I apologize. Just bring it up next time we're on the air, and I'll definitely try to get an answer for you. If we lose hope, the next video should be hopes of party ruined again. Okay. I hope that's not the case. Heading in, I expect much more. Okay. I expect much better of this team. Lee, what do you got to say to the people before we bounce out?
Just thanks, everyone. Cheers, everyone, for turning up and being in. Thanks for your contributions. See you again soon.
Yes, definitely. This match is bigger than 3 points. We all know that. It's about direction, belief, identity, all the things we've been saying repeatedly all year. It seems like, unfortunately, we haven't figured any of that real out. But, it's got to start somewhere. A win takes pressure off a Slot, stabilizes the squad. A loss definitely invites chaos, noise, negativity in the run up to Inter Milan. Leeds is going to be a hostile environment to play in. They'll be physical on the pitch, but Liverpool must be brave. Simple as that. We must have brave actors on the pitch. And ones, can I stress, I can't stress this enough. We need Liverpool to not drop your heads ever. I spoke about the fact that I wear my kit with pride even when we lose. Look, on that pitch, I don't want to see the confidence dip. I don't want to see the energy dip. I want to see a constant ratcheting up of focus, intensity, and purpose on that pitch. So let's see who steps up. Let's see who really wants this. That's what it comes down to. So look, my Reds, as always, you'll never walk alone. Best believe that, certainly on this channel, from the likes of our scouts in the house here. Thank you, Dara, for the question. I've been working my way back to full health. So Liverpool is not necessarily doing any help towards keeping my spirits high, but all the same, what does make me feel better is seeing people like yourself in the chat, saying kind words or checking in, and definitely showing the support that we should show towards all Reds. So I appreciate that. We will be back for tomorrow's game. Is it 5:30 start tomorrow again?
It is, yeah. 5:30 kickoff tomorrow, yeah.
Okay. So yeah, I can do a I can get up out of bed and get a roll call in. That's not too. It's early. Don't get it wrong. It is early for my weekends. That is definitely early, but still, I'll make it happen. So we'll do a roll call tomorrow, and also have a little. I'll try to put together some fun trivia for us tomorrow. So Norm and Dara, be sure to check that out and help out the chat. Maybe help out Lee with some answers. And yeah. Other than that, as always, up the Reds each and every time. I hope the best for you guys. Take care of yourselves and also take care of your loved ones in your life. And I'm pretty much West Coast. I could say West Coast. West Side. I'm West Side. West Side of I'm in the same state Dar is. I'm in Arizona, if you want to know exactly. So but definitely take care of yourselves. And be sure to take care of your loved ones. It's important that you do so, because life is precious, and by far it's so much better with you a part of it. So we will get with you tomorrow. And until then, West Side Story. That's right. Until tomorrow, peace out.